Good day, everybody. This is Untitled 1 and Mekkah,
Hello.
and we are bringing to you Chapter 2 of my Fire Emblem 11 Hard 5 0% Girls playthrough.
Okay, we've got a bunch of new units in this chapter. One of them is Ogma. He's the leader of his mercenary band. Ogma himself is a very fast mercenary. He's so fast that he can double about half the pirates in this map, so that's going to be making him very useful. Also useful is Barst, one of the 3 fighters that joins with him. Barst has pretty good personal stats, and that's going to make him pretty important in the long run, and even in this chapter. The 2 other fighters, Ford and Cord, are not as great, but nonetheless necessary to complete this chapter quickly enough, because everyone's got to chip in. Maybe except for Deros, he's not that great. He's the pirate that's going to join right now by talking to Marth. He doesn't even try to attack you. If you put Marth in the wrong spot and Deros joins in range of one of his ex-friends, then they're going to murder him, because Deros is pretty slow by himself, and he's got a steel axe with him that weighs him down even further. So if you put him in the wrong spot, he just dies straight away.
So about this chapter, I think it's one of the most difficult in the game, regardless of what context you're playing in, whether it's low turn count or with growth or whatever. One of the reasons for that is because the enemy pirates in this chapter are way harder than the enemy pirates in the previous chapter. The reason for that is because in the previous chapter they have like specially reduced growths, so they're like 6 HP less durable and 4 to 5 strength weaker in the previous chapter. Here they're at their full power, and so whereas in the previous chapter, for example, Drog was getting 4 round KO'd and not doubled, here he's getting roughly 2 hit KO'd and doubled, so he is like transformed from being halfway decent to totally useless. And most of our other characters are also sort of feeling the pain. Another reason why this chapter is so hard is because of the general enemy positioning. There's a high concentration of enemies near the end of the map, and so in order to sort of bite off manageable chunks, we have to trigger them to move in a staggered fashion. And one of the ways we can get them to do that is the fact that some of the enemies in this map move once they're within a certain distance of them, but not necessarily within their attack range. And so that's the reason why, for example, on turn 1 we moved Jagen and Ogma really far forward, and on turn 2 we're having Sita sort of do a mini diversion over along the bottom of the map.
One of the enemies that we lured over is Castor, the hunter that we're recruiting with Sita right now. Hunter is like a slightly stronger version of archers. They have a little bit more move and slightly better stats, so that's going to make him a little more useful in the long term, but not very long term. Another way we make this map easier for ourselves is dealing with the enemies north of the starting point, the ones that were with Deros, by putting Kane in the choke point right there. Kane can survive like 1 hit, and then he has to run for his life along with the rest of his friends. As long as you do that, it's a lot easier to deal with these enemies by not fighting them at all, because if you don't, then you're going to be attacked from 2 sides, and that's not very fun when you have this little offense to deal with them.
In a more casual playthrough, there's a pretty well-known strategy where you can sort of like trap the enemy hunter, the bow user, to attack from a spot that you can just walk up next to him, and then he just traps the rest of his friends on that little island. That's obviously not something that we used here, because it involves kind of just using a unit for the entire chapter to block off 1 point, and we need everybody, even the most useless units possible, because everybody needs to be doing something in this chapter. So this strategy only works if we can like run really fast over to the left, because otherwise they'll catch up sooner or later.
Okay, pay close attention to the item management in this segment, because we've been trading quite a lot, especially the vulnerary that's being handed around and used by a lot of different people, because we need to keep our health high, especially for our units that are doing the most work on enemy phase, like Ogma, Jagen, and Barst, because we only have 1 healer still and only that 1 vulnerary, and also we're trading around some steel weapons just to increase our offense.
Our 3 heaviest hitters, Jagen, Ogma, and Barst, are pretty low on HP right now, and somewhat unfortunately they're also our best candidates for facing the boss, because the boss here is pretty tough. He's kind of fast and he hits pretty hard, and he has a lot of HP. So we need at least 2 of them to be on high health, and the way we do that is, well, first of all, we have 1 more vulnerary use left. We have Riss available to heal for the next 2 turns. And then there's a fort that's near the boss that we can use for just a tiny bit of extra healing that Jagen needs in order to have enough HP to survive an attack on the next turn.
So the tile that Riss just moved off of is a save tile, I guess a save point. If you played Radiant Dawn, you're probably familiar with battle saves, and this save point is exactly one battle save. That allows you to save in the middle of the chapter and reload if things go wrong or you want to redo it. And this is great because the chapter can be kind of long and kind of tricky, and you don't want to start all over again if something goes wrong. We use it as an RNG manipulation tool, kind of, for some luck-based fights, because you'll hear in a second why this boss is so tough, and we actually need some luck to go our way in order to actually beat him in a quick fashion. So we're very glad that the save point is here, and in the future there will be chapters with multiple save points to make things even easier.
Yeah, I really wish that the previous chapter, Chapter 1, had a save point, because, we really could have used that. That would have been pretty helpful. This boss is almost just as bad, I would say, because, we have to have Jagen gum him with the Silver Lance, and Jagen has open triangle disadvantage, and the boss is also on a tile that gives plus 20 avoid. We have to use Barst with an Iron Axe, and even though the Iron Axe is one of the most accurate axes, axes in general are not that accurate for weapon type. So that also has a pretty high chance of missing. Ogma has to dodge the enemy boss, which is somewhat reliable. The enemy boss only has 48 hit on Ogma because hand axes are not innately accurate weapons, and Ogma also has open triangle advantage. And then finally, in order to kill him, because all 3 of the grounded 1-range tiles are occupied, we have to use a 2-range candidate, and that just happens to be our new recruit Castor.
Yeah, the amazing Castor finished them off, and now Marcus and Brains disease.
Thrones and gates have 1 extra movement cost in this game, so thank goodness that village is exactly 6 tiles away from the gate. So, this is Chapter 2, completed in 5 turns. We'll see you next time.
See ya.